what's your opinion on abortion in Ireland? Are you pro or against?
Oh God, I have to think about that. I'm pro. I think I would be pro, yeah. I think it's very important that women have the right to choose for themselves, and I know there's a lot of controversy over the legislation at the moment in the country, but I do think that it's a step forward and it's a step in the right direction for a lot of women and for women's rights in general.
If it's for medical reasons, I'm for it. If it's for somebody just making a simple mistake, I'm against.
Well, I just think that the woman has the right to choose, really, and I think unfortunately at the moment in Ireland it's men that are making all the choices. That's my biggest problem about it. I don't think it's a black and white issue. You know, it's difficult, the choice is very difficult, but I just don't think that men should be making the decision. And at the moment it seems to be mostly men that are making that decision.
I'm pro the right to choose. Personally, I don't believe in abortion, but I think people should have the right to make that decision for themselves. So I think that women should be given the right. The way I see it is men can walk away, women can't. So women should be given the right to choose for themselves.
Against, yeah. Abortion.
Against. In any case, what if the girl has been raped or...
That's different.
It's a different ballgame.
It's different. If you're just asking for abortion's sake, you're against it, but each case would have to be taken individually. If there's a case where there's a rape involved, you know, okay, the two wrongs make a right.
In the middle, not sure.
I've no opinion now, I don't know. Never really thought about it, to be honest. So,
Why doesn't anyone want to talk about this? Because I'm asking many people and... What do you think about the bill that they're voting now? Do you think it's enough?
I don't know if I know an awful lot about it, and well, enough about it to completely comment on it, but no, I do think there's more probably needs to be done. I don't think any bill that goes through is ever perfect, but I think there definitely needs to be a step taken in some way forward to progress this issue, and if that's the kind of beginning of it, and hopefully we can refine it and make it better then in the future, I think it's better than no legislation.
I don't know a lot about it. I think it's just like, it's a fudge. It's just been used as a smoke screen because of all the taxes on the illegal taxes that they put on top of people, household charge, all that stuff, and it's just a smoke screen for robbing everyone blind to give the IMF money. So
I don't think it makes any difference to the way it is the status quo, because as much as I understand it, the bill still states that if the child, if the fetus is not viable outside of the womb, they still can't legitimately abort the fetus, which is the situation with the poor lady that died, is that they'd said to her that the fetus wasn't viable, and yet at the same time they wouldn't abort because they can't, and she died, and it's not going to prevent that again. So I think it hasn't really made any difference. I don't think it is enough, no. They've focused on suicide. I mean, I don't think that any woman would put herself through or threaten suicide just to have an abortion. I mean, I think it's such a very small proportion of women that would do that, so they've got really hung up on this idea that women are going to go around threatening suicide so they could have an abortion, and that's not the issue.
That should be allowed. That's not a question. That is, if someone isn't mentally right to have a child, it's very different. Some people, if they're like, they can't function, like the idea of, you know, they don't go right in their head, so it's not actually allowing for me just to decide I go to England and get an abortion. It's if medical people state this person's mental health isn't right. So that's, to me, there's no question that should be passed.
I still think why should a baby suffer? You know, I can understand depression, I can understand all that. You're asking a man's point of view of pregnancy anyway, which I think is a bad idea.
It's a woman's
choice at the end of the day.
A man shouldn't have got to do it.
Well, I think if there is a risk of suicide, then definitely, if that's the road they want to go, they should be allowed to do so.
I haven't even read anything about it or anything, so I don't actually know much about it, to be honest.
I think because we're a very traditional country, we've always been a very old-fashioned traditional culture for a very long time, and I think that maybe we were catapulted into modern day life a bit too quick for some people, but I think that it's certainly a lot to do with the Catholicism and the Catholic regime in Ireland, I personally feel. And I think that's why there's a lot of people who maybe don't know enough about it to talk about it, or don't feel comfortable talking about it because it's either a very sensitive, it is a very sensitive issue. I mean, I don't think that we can ignore the fact that it's not a sensitive issue, but I think people just need to make themselves more educated about it.
They still think it's the 1940s here.
1940s.
They're very backwards. Yeah.
Well, I don't think that they would be pro-abortion, but I think that they would want the legislation to go further than it does now, and I think most Irish people would consider that the way forward. I think at the moment that it's still very much, the issue is still, it's just not clear. No one's been given clarity, and so I do think that if there was a referendum, that the Irish people would vote maybe for different conditions. Still, I don't think they're ever going to go the route of saying that there should be free abortion for anybody that wants to choose it. No, this is a Catholic country, that's not going to happen. But at the same time, I do think people realise that the way the situation is now, it doesn't work for anybody.